Have you ever thought about opening a grocery store, a convenience store? So, for me, I have a convenience store in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania region, and I want to share with you how we were able to open that convenience store. Okay, so there are a couple steps. There are about 8 steps that we took to open this convenience store. Um, it was a learning process, and I want to share that with you today. Okay, so the first step you want to take is, first of all, you want to decide what type of business you want to do, the audience that you want to serve, and later on you might pivot, and we will talk about that pivot. But for right now, you want to decide, okay, what audience you want to serve. And for us, it was, we serve the international, it's an international grocery store. So we serve mostly Caribbean products and local products as well. All right. So you want to decide your market audience. That's the first step. You want to decide, you want to choose the area that you want your store to be in, and you want to do a demographic study of that area. That is very important because getting sales will build and break your business. So you want to make sure that you get your sales, right? So then you want to set up your grocery store. You want to set up a name for it. Make sure the name is, unique to what you want. So for us, our LLC name is different from our doing business as name, right? For example, you have many McDonald's. All the McDonald's, the LLCs are different. They're different owners. So you might have, for example, McDonald's. You might have, say, Water Nation LLC doing business as McDonald's, right? So doing business as is different from the actual LLC name, and that will be on your filing. The we I use a website called Northwest Registered Agent, and that is totally different. It's a website that I use to create my LLCs. They walk you through everything. I am not sponsored, guys, so I'm not selling you anything. I'm just telling you what I use, okay? All right. So you want to set up your LLC. Getting the LLC is very critical even before you start to get the building, and I'll show you why in a minute. Okay, then you want to set up your LLC. You want to do your business bank account, right? So that you want to set that up, because every money that you invest in this business, it needs to be recorded. Every money, all the monies, right? So whenever you set up your business bank account, even obviously, to begin, you need investment money. So you're lending yourself some money, so you want to put that money in that bank account. Even when you're doing your business plan, all of that, every dollar comes from that account. You want to get your location. When you get your location, you want to make sure that the rent or lease or whatever money come from that account. Even if you're paying a mortgage on the place, you want to make sure it comes from that account, because that, your business account needs to be separate from your personal account. So even if you're lending yourself money from your personal account, that money needs to go into the business account before you use it as business. It's very important, guys, for bookkeeping records, and for record keeping and stuff like that. All right. So we set up our business plan. We have a, if you decide to have a website, you have that set up. You have, your business account, your LLC, all that. The foundation is set up, right? The name and all that. Then you need to get your logos and your marketing tools. You need to decide on that. You need to get also the location. So you decide where you're going to do your business. You start to source locations, in the area that you want, to see what's suitable, the rent or lease is suitable for you, and you want to source that as well. Okay. All right, put a description below, a little PDF form of all that we're talking about, so you can grab that link below here. Okay. All right. Also, you want to make sure that you're compliant. It's a grocery store, so you don't want to get somewhere that you hear that next door is infested. You get what I'm saying? You don't want to get a building that is is part of it is condemned, because you're selling food and you need licenses. And if that's close to your business, you might not be approved for your permits, and you don't want that. Yeah, it's a business and it needs to be permitted. The you have to be granted permission, and you don't want to not be approved because of next door. you know um there's garbage everywhere, and just be mindful of things like that, because you're selling food and you don't want that issue, right? Rats and rodents and stuff like that, we don't want that. Okay, so you have to decide on these structures. All right, then you have to file for your permits, right? When you get the building, you probably did some work on it, some little minor renovations and stuff. You have to include all of that in your permit. So for me, we're in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. We're with Allegheny County, so we have to file a food permit through Allegheny County. You also, before I forget, you also need a sales tax license. So you have to research wherever you are, in the state that you are, in the county, most importantly, that you are, you need to get a sales tax license, right? So you want to ensure that research those things and get those before you do your renovations, because before you do renovations, it has to be recorded on the permits that you're doing these renovations. So if you're taking out a room, if you're putting in plumbing, stuff like that. And also, guys, if you're doing like plumbing and electrical work, you have to have a licensed plumber or a licensed electrician sign off on your permits, right? So you don't want to, move stuff around and stuff like that, and you don't have a licensed personnel to sign off on your permits. That can be a problem, right? And basically, for us, when we got our permit, right? And when we got our permit, there were some things that they were looking for. Every gaps in the ground, they're closed. Basically, they're looking to make sure that the place is not wet. There's no extra moisture coming from anywhere. The food that the shelving and stuff, they're arranged properly. The fridge that you have, those equipments, they're arranged properly, they're in good working condition, because at the end of the day, it is safety for the customers. It's not about you as a business owner, it's safety for the customers and safety for the environment. So yes, so safety for the customer, it's very important. And we have to, if you go somewhere right now and you're buying stuff, you have to be mindful, right? You don't want to buy stuff that are expired. You don't want to buy stuff that are infested and stuff like that. So you want to be mindful, and it's very important. You can be terminated, your business can be shut down for stuff like that. So you want to be mindful of that, right? All right, next thing, we want to source our inventories, right? So after you get the place, you are permitted, you got your permit. For us, our permit took, let's see, about 3 months. It was the holiday season, and it took 3 months for us to get it, partly because it was the holiday season. And they told us to fix some things, and then we fixed it. They came back and we were good. Okay, so you learn as you go along, but you want to make sure no food item is on the floor. Even in your storage area, you have to have heights from the floor, even if it's pallets, to put your stuff on. No exposed boards, wood, all the wood has to be painted and stuff like that, because you're selling food and you don't want to have moisture go into that and cause contamination, right? Your fridge, when you store your products in your fridge, it has to be properly stocked the way it should. There's ways to stock the fridge, and we can do another video on that. So stuff like that you have to be mindful of, okay? um Next thing, as I said, you want to source your inventory, right? At first, when we started off with a more expensive place, partly because we were uneducated about getting inventory. And as we go along, we get help from other grocery store owners, or we start sourcing other places, and we were able to find cheaper prices and stuff like that. And I think it's a learning curve too, because you will learn, right? You will learn as you go along. You keep going and you will learn for sure. So you will get, better place to get your inventory, local produce and stuff like that. So it's a learning curve, but it's up to you to do your you want to research and do due diligence to your business, okay? So you're not overspending, all right? So you want to source your, it's important to also get insurance. You at least need liability insurance. It is very important. So just to cover if anything happens, all things can happen when they can, okay? So just to cover if anything happens, you are covered in that regard, okay? So just to keep you safe, all right? You do business in an area that you don't live in, you do want to make sure that you have great connection with the community members and organizations. So what we started doing is, when you're new to the business, you will have visits from community leaders and stuff like that, and you want to make sure that you're engaging in community development projects, stuff like that. So what we did, because we don't live in the area that we have business, we don't really know a lot of people, we make sure we connect with the local police, we make sure that we connect with local organization, we go to local business development meetings just to see what's going on in the area, how can we add to the productivity of the area and stuff like that. So it is very important to connect. We had articles, we that came out with our business. We connect with local newspapers and stuff like that, and we had articles that and it helped us a lot, because believe it or not, people still read newspapers and they still read magazines and stuff like that. So they connect, there was more people coming in the store because they read about us in the papers. So that is very important, right? To just connect with local businesses and see how you can add positively to the environment that you're in. As at the end of the day, when you're a business owner, when you're an entrepreneur, the aim is always to serve, and you have to decide how you can serve your community, your customers, your audience, whatever it is, whoever it is that you're trying to sell. It's not about trying to sell things, it's also about service. So how can you serve your community, right? So that is very important, okay? All right, guys. So next, and also before we move on, it helps with branding and marketing when you join your community leaders and help. And we had a nice grand opening, and that was nice. We gave away food, show people how we use our products in our stores with food, on the food and stuff like that. So we always also want to be mindful, that we're here to serve the community, right? So if you're here to serve the community, you want to make sure that you're taking inventory, you're taking stock as to what you need to upgrade in your store, what you need to change, what needs to happen so you can serve the community, right? So marketing and community connection is very, very important, because if you have a store and you're not getting sales, it doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, so Connection marketing is very important, and I can't stress that a lot. You could look fancy, it could be pretty, it could be nice, whatever, but if you don't have the connection and customers coming into your store, it doesn't make sense, right? So you have to listen to your customer. So once your location is ready, you have your license in hand, you have all your foundational network set up and all that. You need to create your social media websites, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, your Reels and all set up. You have to create your social media. Social media is very important because you can reach more people. And also make sure you have an online store, right? You can reach more people, get more sales and stuff like that. You also want to train your staff so they know. This is important because you need to have a brand, and your brand is very important, and everybody needs to be aware of what your brand stands for, right? How you want to show up. They need to represent your brand. As the business owner, you can't just do whatever. You have to be a brand that is good, that has good reputation, right? And is of service, right? So you want to make sure that your staff is aware of what you stand for, your expectations, your vision, all that. So you want to train them, even if they were in management before, even if they had, those experiences. You definitely want to train them about your company, your brand, what to do, what not to do, and also listen to them, because they're the ones that are the face of your company, and they're the ones that will give you feedback as to what the people want, what the customers want, what needs to be done better. You have to listen as well, okay? So that is very important, right? um and this, before you open your doors, you need to make sure that you're compliant, right? It's very important. Make sure you're compliant with all that you need to be compliant. If you take SNAP, EBT, we have a video about that. If you take EBTs and SNAP benefits, you want to make sure that you're compliant with the rules and regulation of that, because that's federal, and you can be in trouble if certain things are not being done properly. And at the end of the day, it is your responsibility as the store owner to make sure that all your staff members are compliant with what needs to be done with these regulations, okay? So stay on top of compliance, health inspections, renewal of licenses, the rules, the local rules. You have to be compliant with that. Taxes, oh my God, yes. So once you're selling something, goods or services, there are taxes, there are sales tax. You need to have a sales tax license, but also you need to make sure that you're putting those taxes aside, the money. So for me, what I do, I use the Clover system. And again, I'm not promoting any of these, I'm just telling you what I use. I use the Clover system, right? And there's a app inside the Clover system. It's our POS system, and there's an app inside of it that's called Davo, DAVO. And I'm not promoting anything, I'm just telling you what I use. What that app does, it's automatically remove those taxes from your daily sales. So instead of me putting those money aside manually, this app goes into Clover, say, okay, this is how much you make for the day, this is how much taxes, and they put away those taxes. And every quarter they file your taxes for you. They have your business information. They stay on top of things. They make sure you're compliant, make sure you're not overpaying or underpaying the taxes. So that is really, really good. I really, really enjoy that, because then I don't have to worry about it. And when I do my taxes at the end of the year, I don't have to worry about come up with thousands and thousands of dollars to pay taxes, right? So, and I know that's already taken care of and I don't have to worry about it. So, guys, it's really important to make sure that you're putting aside your taxes, because whether you like it or not, it's gonna come out. They're gonna take their taxes, okay? Guys, as I said earlier, please maintain the food safety standards. It's very important. That compliance, guys, is very important. It takes one person to report you, to report your business, and you're in trouble. So make sure you're maintaining safety, right? If something is spoiled on your shelf, make sure you're checking expirations, make sure you're checking for spoilage. And it might seem very annoying, and we have a video on that too, where we talk about spoilage and how to manage that. It might seem very annoying, but at the same time, make sure you're checking on that, okay? So we went over 7 concepts of how to start a grocery store. And number 1, right, we want to make sure that we develop a business plan and concept, make sure we develop the right name and so on and so forth, so we have the proper foundation. Number 2, we want to choose our business structure, our LLC or EIN number, our bank account. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. Number 3, we want to choose a location in the right demographic area that we can serve the people that we want to serve. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. Okay. Number 4, we want to be compliant state and locally. We want to make sure that we have our licenses or permits, and know our compliance laws and rules, right? Number 5, we want to plan our operation, right? We want to make sure we have the right suppliers. We want to make sure that we're sourcing and researching inventory, right? Number 6, we want to set up our business bank account and make sure that all monies that we spend in the business comes from our business bank account, right? Number 7, we want to make sure that we are marketing and connecting with our community. Our community it's very important, because if you have a business and you're not getting sales, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so we want to make sure we have the right marketing and the right community, and it doesn't have to be fancy, guys. You learn as you go along. Give yourself some grace, some credit. Worse if this is your first business. You learn as you go along, and you will learn. You will learn. So guys, just do your research, and if you don't know, ask. Right? There are people out here that is willing to help you. Okay, a lot of people help me along the way, other grocery store owners, they give me tips and tricks. And just do your research. It's our due diligence to do our research, right? Then we want to launch, we want to monitor her business, monitor what's selling, what's not selling, then we know how to do our inventory, stuff like that. We want to take feedbacks from our staff, from our customers, because they know what they want, and they know, the staff knows what the customers want, because they're the ones that in your business every day. And also the customers know what they want, and you have to listen to them. The term the customer is always right, they are. Okay.